What we do here is go back.
Thank you, Mike Aruba, yeah.
What's up, everybody? I'm Hassan Piker, and this is the Awesome broadcast coming to you live from a cloudy day here in California, Los Angeles. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. I have a very important announcement. I've finally done it. I watched Ethan Klein's Content Nuke, and I'm not going to call it Context Puke as I normally do because the reality of the matter is it was brilliant. Nothing was out of context. Everything was correct. I am an Islamist, fundamentalist, radical terrorist. I am a vicious anti-Semite. It's true. Most importantly, Ethan is more attractive than me, both physically and also mentally. I've been lying about everything, including my glasses. They're fake. He was right about that. That's not even in the Content Nuke. And he was right about that too. How did he know everything? How? Wake up, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Time to be awake, Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
This is no longer a dream. This is a nightmare. Wake up.
Ethan, the dumb bitch is telling you to wake up.
Wake up.
Ethan, wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
The rug keeps moving in the back. I
wake
can't stop
up.
looking. The rug keeps moving in the back, and I can't stop looking at it.
Wake up. Soon, anyone? Just wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
I'm not going to do a react content yet, chat.
I'm the same. Nobody's told you to wake up, Ethan.
Yummy, I love Sabra hummus.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up.
Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
Wake up.
Wake up, Ethan. Just wake up.
All right. I didn't plan on making a content cop on H3. It sounds very stupid even saying that. H3 content cop, Idubbz. Ethan Klein's out of control. And then you should do a content cop on Hassan Piker. Content cop on Sargon of Akkad. If I would imagine this in 2016, I would have been like, oh yeah, if I ever do that, it's gotta be because I lose the plot. Well, it turns out it's not me losing the plot, it's Ethan. He's the one who fucking attacked first.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up.
So go
God, why he's bouncing like he's on amphetamines.
fuck yourself.
I agree.
All right, guys, I'm going to tell you a story about Ethan Klein. I know some of you have been following him, but there's a lot of people who might not be familiar with the background, with his podcast, with what's been going on over the past couple of years. So Ethan, as you know, is a content creator who has a podcast where he says all sorts of outrageous stuff. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's fucked up. He's had shows with all sorts of different controversial characters. He's had a show with Trisha Paytas. He's had a show with Hassan Piker. In doing so, he's gathered a ton of different audiences. Now, in his podcast with Hassan, Leftovers, they would mostly talk about surface level progressive shit and make fun of right-wingers.
And you're telling me he didn't flick their dick once at least?
Oh, that's 100 shavers. You trans women. I say, oh.
I mean, can I just say, I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I didn't fuck with Leftovers. I know this is an unpopular opinion.
And it was mostly that until they actually had to reckon with a very serious topic. I would say that Hassan was very well equipped to talk about that topic.
Palestinian people living in the West Bank are subject to these horrific conditions, horrific living conditions by the state of Israel, America's greatest ally and the only democracy in the Middle East, if you ask Republicans and even liberals.
Well, the anti-offended was okay, bad. Never mind.
Israeli settlers are trying to evict Palestinian families in occupied East Jerusalem. The United Nations says that may be a war crime. It literally is.
I was just eating the toppings, and the pizza looked like a burn victim. It was all disgusting.
It's called comedy.
I don't know if you can make that joke in 2021.
Why?
It's insensitive to burn victims.
I think it's a good analogy. It's a powerful image.
Ethan was not prepared for this. Ethan, the whole time, is more of the goof guy. And that's fine, you know, we don't expect Ethan to be an expert on the topic. Ethan was obviously caught in this tricky situation where he is extremely sympathetic to the Israeli cause and what's happening to them. His wife's Israeli, she served in the IDF. He obviously likes the state of Israel. On the other hand, he's just got done capturing a massive progressive audience who are very politically savvy. They follow Hassan. Hassan is strictly a political streamer, so this is something they're very keyed into. So when they see Ethan say things that are just like not accurate and it's just propaganda, they're gonna call it out.
From the river to the sea essentially means the state of Israel is going bye-bye.
So this massive progressive audience that Ethan has, you know, adopted over the years, they're becoming increasingly critical of his position because now he's talking about it not on Leftovers, he's now talking about it on his podcast.
What I want to do is show you guys how I see Israel, because you don't see that when you listen to Hassan and you hear all these fucking mega lefties talking about it like it's some super racist, like crazy, you know, like Jim Crow style of society. Like, I can't wait to show you guys.
The other day, BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
So Ethan is having this back and forth with his liberal audience, leftist people online, progressive content creators, Hassan, all of these different people.
Nice,
He's finding
okay.
new people every day, basically, to get in fights with.
Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, Frogan and Denims and all these dipshits, and everybody thinks this guy's awesome, apparently. Even though he looks like Millhouse, fucking dork. Denims, by the way, was the real villain of the video. Evil, hateful fucking... And I'll say it and I'll double down on it. And people... Oh, no?
No,
Did I not go
no.
there?
And it's all culminated, at least for
See
my...
what I mean? Do you see how the crew reins in him so much? Let him be himself.
Story in Ethan burning bridges with people until he burned the bridge with me. Since Ethan and Hassan's falling out, I've been keeping to myself mostly. I don't have many nice things to say. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can like rekindle our friendship. So that's been my approach. I've occasionally thrown a joke Ethan's way in the form of Hassan Piker versus Ethan Klein for boxing.
I like Idubbz. He's a good guy, but I don't like this stupid. It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like, this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. And also he's way out of my weight class.
He didn't like that, but fucking sometimes you gotta just throw something
Hassan is evil. Meanwhile, he's citing Sam Hyde.
out there. I used to work with this video editor named Froggy Tonic. I discovered him because he was in the circles online that I was in. And one of those circles is an H3 fan. He watched Ethan's content, he liked Ethan's content, until he didn't like Ethan's content. There would be an occasional Froggy tweet where I'd be like, I agree with that, you know? Like, I'm not gonna endorse it, I'm not gonna retweet it or like it, but fair enough.
I guess I just missed my old friend. Some wings are too bird feathered colored.
Now that brings us to February 28th of this year. Now, my former editor of a year and a half ago did say some truly mean shit. He called Hila the C word. He said they're trying to kill their dog with cheddar cheese and a bunch of other shit, I'm sure. Ethan, at some point, discovers that Idubbz' former editor says this horrendous shit about him and Hila. But no one's asking the question, where does Ethan get this information from? You see, it would be very obviously a problem if Ethan was discovering this content by scrolling through Twitter looking for something to upset himself with. He has maybe set it up in such a way where his employees feel the need to send him this information. And that would be horrible. They shouldn't be doing that. They should
I'm pretty sure AB was caught doing that. Wasn't AB caught doing that? Like, wasn't AB caught finding someone at, like, Small who said something and sending it to them? Like, I think this is literally shade to AB, isn't it?
be sending you things that are entertaining for your show that don't fucking trigger the hell out of you. Why is there so much work being put into discovering this guy on Twitter who's barely getting any interactions, linking him to me and posting on the Reddit, when there's no work being put into who the fuck is the person on the Reddit who's posting this in the first?
Okay, first of all, Icarus Drowned is a Destiny cult member, super stalker. I recognize this name. I think there was a place where you could see people's deleted Reddit posts. Is there a website where you could see someone's deleted Reddit post? Let's look it up right now.
Bruh. Oh my god, bro. Oh hell no, man.
Place. If you do a little bit of research, it seems like it's an account whose intention is to make Ethan crash out. One of the users on the Snark Reddit points this out. They're like, I've seen this account before. This account has scraped its history, and it's now trying to make Ethan burn bridges. This is within Ethan's own community. Like, this is the thing that he needs to be critical of. It's not me. So yes, I am willing to admit that my former editor was being very nasty, uncharitable, and fucked up towards Ethan and Hila on Twitter. But Ethan and Hila are doing the same shit on their podcast. So I don't want to fucking hear it.
Terrorist supporter.
The CEO of Twitch.
Pedophile.
Now I'm going to watch and respond to the two podcast streams where Ethan and Hila call us spineless cowards.
Anyway, this guy was saying shit like that Hila's a Nazi, that she kills kids, that she went on like, she's a IDF baby killer, all this types of shit. And that's showing up right up on us Nisa's and Idubbz feed. My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
You don't know what's on my feed. What the fuck is happening? For all you know, I only use the For You tab. For all you know, I only use lists. For all you know, I'm seeing these things tweeted out by my editor of a year and a half ago and saying, God, that is nasty. I'm just not gonna throw someone away because they're having a parasocial weird moment. Just like I'm not gonna throw Ethan Klein away because he's having a parasocial weird crash out.
How many women I fucked? Hassan, by the way, thousands. Yeah, thousands. Let me ask Galia. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Hassan's the type of dude who watches himself in the mirror when he has sex.
Watching me on a 30-second delay on your stream.
Wait, that's what wait, how does he know I'm watching already?
Because you've been talking about it for the last 5 minutes.
It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like, this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry.
There are many people, I'm sure, who have unfollowed you for the things that you've said and done. And I'm sure there are even more people who have stayed following you because they don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. They don't want to throw someone away because they've had some hard moments. We're all fucking human.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
And what you're saying to me is that I'm a bad friend and I'm a piece of shit. I'm spineless, I'm cowardly because I am following someone on Twitter.
Because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people harassing me and everyone in my life. It's that people outside of this group, journalists, creators, are actively participating in this gaslighting to make it seem like I'm fucking crazy.
I mean, I don't know what he's getting at here. Like, yeah, people are gaslighting you. A lot of people gaslit me when I apologized. That was actually like the #1 type of harassment I got, was people gaslighting me and taking my newfound woke ideology to its extreme.
I probably done and stood by Idubbz and Anissa more than anybody. I've stood by them when all the internet hated them.
I don't like that Ethan brought this up because it makes the relationship feel very transactional. Like, you know, we're just meant to support each other online despite our own personal morals or principles.
But I'll say this, I don't think they're fucking any friends of mine. And certainly I don't think they're any fucking friends of mine based on the text conversation I had with them too before I even talked about it. So I have nothing. Like, I don't need any fucking halfway friends, man.
I thought the text conversation that I had with him was very empathetic. I basically just said, like, I know you and Hila are experiencing a ton of harassment, and I essentially empathize with that, and I think there's something positive to get out of the conversation. But he refused to talk on the phone unless I was willing to publicly say something about my former editor and Idubbz. As much as you don't want halfway friends, I also don't want that kind of halfway friend. I don't want someone who's going to give me like an ultimatum to have a conversation.
could you not say something when this is like, imagine like one of you guys is like, Hassan actually wants to go to Israel, go to Gaza so he can strangle Israeli babies or some shit like that. I'd be like, imagine me not saying something.
That just shows, that just shows your current post. That's just Reddit searches. It doesn't show your old deleted stuff. The fact that this has gone on for a fucking year now and E refuses to have a man-to-man convo with Hassan or any other people involved should be indication enough that people should just dead end this and let him spew his unserious bullshit. Nobody who matters gives a fuck what he has to say. That being said, it's deeply concerning his willingness to use mechanism of the state to attack his enemies. So I guess it's, well, because he's an Israeli Zionist who wants to oppress Palestinians and their allies. It's not that complicated. It's actually very simple when you think about it. He supports Palestinians being held in an apartheid state. He calls Ramallah in the West Bank a terrorist city. That's just a Palestinian city. He supports Palestinians not having the right to vote. He supports Palestinians being left in ghettos. Like, you know, he's saying that he has called in the past settlers enemy combatants. But the Israeli, if a Palestinian shoots a settler, the Israeli military kills that Palestinian. So Ethan Klein may think that it's legitimate, but the Israeli state doesn't. The Israeli state, using government money, will go and kill anyone who resists Palestinian, the settlement of the Palestinian territories. So it is what it is. He's not Israeli. Yes, he is. He's an Israeli citizen.
To make a one-to-one comparison where there isn't one. This guy that I follow on Twitter is...
Oh, the deletes Reddit post sites were nuked when they did API changes last year? Okay.
Not in the same relationship as you and one of your current employees who is streaming with you 3 days a week, 3 hours a day for the past 10 years. At one point during the stream, Ethan and Hila bring up Adam McIntyre. Now, Adam does basically the same thing as my former editor. He's critical of Ethan and Hila, and he is sometimes uncharitable and nasty towards them.
Adam McIntyre needs to just like disappear. That guy is a piece of shit, like of the lowest order. I never even stood by him when he talked bad about Trisha having a kid and called him like the spawn of Satan. He was supposedly on our side. I would never even co-sign that. I was disgusted by that statement too. I remember when he called her kid the spawn of Satan.
I never said anything
and
like
I was
that.
supposed to be like cheering on, but I wasn't going to cheer that on. That's disgusting.
Why do you forget that he called her children, which is something we would never do, the spawn of Satan?
It's disgusting.
And
a piece of shit of a human.
It's just incredible who ends up being the good guys.
United Healthcare just is crap. Yeah, Luigi's revenge is happening right now, chat. If it wasn't for that, we could. The United Healthcare is like going bankrupt basically.
In this story, you know, it's really something.
Unfortunately, they never made a statement. They never said that they disagree with his statements about Trisha's baby. And
have you seen Ethan Klein's reaction when he heard about the content cop? Plays something right out of the Zionist playbook. Yeah, it's bad. I never targeted AB. I've never said anything mean about AB. I'm simply asking, why did AB leave after he slightly pushed back and you hit the no self-control button? The crew always carried the podcast. You should let them be honest with you instead of replacing them. AB has been nothing but respectful and professional to everyone this whole time. No, he hasn't. He's literally targeted me. You guys, this is so funny. Like, these guys literally, and this is, you know, this is one of the things that I will never forget, is they literally targeted me. They literally targeted me. They took Destiny subreddit clips and posted them and, like, went over them for no reason, right? Like, and he just lied about me blatantly first. And I was pointing out that they didn't seem to have a problem with it. You know, nobody targeted AB. In fact, again, I defended AB. I defended AB early on in this, but then it became clear to me that they had absolutely no problem with Ethan Klein targeting all of us. I don't know why. I mean, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. And the continued targeting of AB and Lena as a means to get at me is so low, so cruel. I wish people would leave them alone. Hassan, of all people, understands that.
Until it's useful. Like, what is it, 3 years later? Like, I mean, you're talking about it like you were aware of it at the time and that there was some amount of pressure or enthusiasm for you to get down with that. And what it sounds like to me is that you did see it at the time and you were like, ooh, I don't like that. And you didn't endorse it and you didn't fuck with it. Huh. It's almost like that is a fucking identical situation to me.
It's just incredible who ends up being the good guys in this story. You know, it's really something.
So yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up is because they're trying to like paint themselves as the good guys, and they're saying like, yeah, we strongly disavow things that are said, even about our enemies. We are the most immoral people on the internet. Unlike Ian and Anissa, who are fucking keeping to themselves. Also, why the fuck does Olivia get the pass?
What a fucking asshole for putting you in that position, Olivia. You're friends with him. And you don't have to say anything, but like, what a fucking piece of shit. What a bad friend to put you in that position just for some fucking clout. It gets people angry at you, like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit, okay? Olivia did not do anything. And
I want the pass. Do I have to be an employee to get that treatment? Because then you'll just see me as an ally? Or is it because Ethan is afraid of wrongful termination accusations and lawsuits?
And also, I don't mind putting my friend Olivia, who's apparently my real friend, in a terribly weird, fucking uncomfortable situation where you end up getting hate for no reason.
Also, don't frame it as like other people making it hard on Olivia. You're making it hard on all of these people. Please acknowledge your role in this whole fucking thing. Like, it's crazy how warm Ethan is to Olivia and saying how Olivia is essentially just a victim in this whole thing.
It gets people angry at you, like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit.
But me and Anissa are spineless. Ethan, your whole system is scrambled. My intention isn't to throw the employees under the bus. Like, you guys serve as the fucking foundation for calling out Ethan's hypocrisy on the whole subject. And I know that you guys have probably pushed back against Ethan over the years. How often are you supposed to do that? Do you have to do that every fucking week? It kind of seems like it.
Why are you so obsessed with this guy, Ethan? It gets boring after a while. Oh man, that's a really good question.
They're doing a video with Hassan, Denim, Sean DeBlack, Frogan, Noah Sampson, and Matt Lieb.
Oh, I mean,
that's like the ensemble of disgusting.
You know who's not there?
Who?
Mike from PA.
Whoa, Mike from PA, what a bitch. Yo, you didn't even make it into this pathetic.
There is the silver lining.
That's so funny, actually.
Damn.
I think that's so funny. Mike, do you see how pathetic you are? You weren't invited.
Never the bride, always the bridesmaid.
Always, man.
It's tough.
You were every time.
I think one of the things that's really interesting about this is like when Hassan is doing election night stream with 300,000 viewers, I'm on that stream. They want me to be on an Idubbz video making fun of them. Bro, I talk about politics, man. I'm happy my friends are getting a successful video making fun of you. It's literally as simple as that.
Friends like these.
Oh yeah, and our other good friends.
Yeah.
Anissa and Ian. Thanks, Anissa, for standing up for your girl. I actually stood up for you so many times, because like, why would I not? It was crazy.
Yeah, why would you not? I mean, if that's truly what you believed and you weren't just going to use it later.
Of course I was going to stand by you. That's insane. It's absolutely insane and disgusting. But now you choose to hang out with people that would have a problem with you if you defended me.
I'm not going to assume that Hila knows, but I'll say it for anyone who doesn't know. Anissa is half Lebanese and half Irish. For anyone unfamiliar, the Irish have been on the receiving end of a lot of oppression and genocide. On the part of the Lebanese, they've received a lot of oppression and attacks from the IDF. So Anissa is very well familiar with the propaganda and the shit coming out of Israel. Choosing now, out of all the times, to be like, please defend me. No, we're not gonna fucking defend you.
Rudy was saying that Palestinians are taught at 2 years old to kill Americans.
Do we have that one?
I mean, like just the other day, Bibi fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
He looked mean. I thought he was mean just because he looked mean.
No, it's not.
So yes, you caught us. We're not gonna run to your defense when, I don't know, we follow people. We be following. That's one fucked up thing that you can say about Anissa and I is when we're on Twitter, we do be following.
It's true. It's true. He does be following. He does be following. He does be following, guys.
So
the problem.
Okay, if you want to hang out with those people and have no spine and not stand up for another girl that stood up for you, enjoy your new friends.
She's friends with people like Denims.
I know. Yeah.
Which I'll
she's
show.
friends with
Denims is actually participating in this whole child protective service lie.
Yeah.
Which I'll
and if
show
you're
you guys
friends with them, then you're seeing what they're saying.
You'll notice that Ethan and Hila start talking about this Denims character. Originally, the complaint was about my former editor. He's been chatting shit about Ethan and Hila for the past year at least. They only care about it now because I guess it was spoon-fed to them via their Reddit that's clearly looking out for them. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We are friends with Denims, but I would say it's the same level of friendship that we had with Ethan and Hila. It's like kind of an internet friendship. We think that she's a good person like we think Ethan and Hila are good people. Kind of a tricky situation. How can you possibly think that they're both good people at their core? People can have crash out moments. People can say things that they don't mean. People can say things because they want internet clout and attention. I don't know, I think they're both probably guilty of saying things that they don't mean for internet clout and attention. Right now, one's a little bit more fucking nasty to me than the other.
I just don't see how you can be my friend. And
I don't do that. I mean, I don't say things I don't mean. If anything, I hold back.
To be friends with someone like that.
Well, you can't. So I already forgot about you.
I actually have a lot of friendships that are kind of that way, where it's like, you know, one of the friends doesn't fuck with the other friend, but there is someone in the middle who kind of fucks with both of them, but separately. Yeah, there's a lot of friendships that are like that. I'm not gonna make you guys like meet up and kiss or anything. I get it. You guys are in fucking
Ethan Klein, we should meet up.
Best friend who's deep throating me to the base of my cock, or you are Satan. You're the devil.
The last thing I said to Anissa, we were texting before I ever talked about it. She's like, I don't care about this guy. He's a nobody, and you know, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, then you'll have no problem publicly denouncing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, the conversation ended.
She never replied.
Ethan, you can't even phrase it in a way that doesn't make you sound like you're being coercive and shitty. Well, then, you should have no problem publicly denouncing it, right? Does that sound like a friend? It kind of sounds like something a powerful villain would say.
But it was so funny how she immediately went to comment everywhere, like on our subreddit. She immediately had to comment like, oh, he doesn't work with us anymore. But that was it. That's all she said.
But then say that you don't
Okay, do you have anything else to say for your friends though?
One of the reasons Anissa was so quick to clarify things in your Reddit is because your Reddit was already talking about who this editor is. And they were spreading misinformation that it was our co-host on our podcast, Uncle Dane. So yeah, the last thing we wanted is this guy getting pulled into this mess, and you guys don't give a fuck. Would it have been nicer and more supportive to say, we don't agree with the things he's saying and we support Ethan and Hila? Sure. Like, yeah, that would have been a nicer thing to say.
Yeah, but then you would have been lying.
Silence means something. It means that we would like to pause this relationship until you figure your shit out. And then maybe we can find a moment in time, I don't know how long it'll be, but a moment in time in the future where things are a little bit easier to broach. I don't think we need to do it right now, but you've insisted that this is an important thing to address. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me on your Instagram story.
Fuck you, you piece of shit, and fuck my friends too. I have stood by all these years who can't find their spine. I don't need any fair weather friends. You know what, Ethan? I totally vibe with this. I don't need fair weather friends either. I don't need backbiters in my life. You know what I mean? Like, I'm totally with Ethan Klein. We have a statement of agreement. I don't want any fair weather friends either. I think that you should, personally, I think you should attack every single person who is not co-endorsing your position on the Israeli genocide.
I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me and my wife on your podcast twice. I would be fine with you not brigading my comment section on my podcast that gets 3,000 views a week because I prefer to not do harassment campaigns and instead talk about Vampire's Kiss.
Like, by the way, look at this fucking Look at this fucking
section
defamation.
on my podcast that gets 3,000 views a week because I prefer to not to do harassment campaigns and instead talk about.
Look at this defamation. Look at this defamation. Like, this is the most, like, Ethan Klein is crying about defamation. What the fuck is this? Because Dan Clancy wished Hassan a happy birthday? Because Dan Clancy only banned the panel for 30 fucking days, the maximum ban you can get? That's not a perma? Like, that, like, look at Ethan Klein. Just, like, it's one thing to disagree with me on the issues. One thing to disagree with Hassan or Denims or whoever else on the issues. But to, like, post a picture where you say Twitch is SS and put a, you know, an SS hat with a skull on it on the Twitch CEO's head. This is batshit crazy, clearly defamatory behavior. Ethan Klein, you are insane. And this is why you recently lost another defamation lawsuit. Have you considered withdrawing this? You're losing a defamation lawsuit as we speak.
About Vampire's Kiss.
Like, they say something like he doesn't work for me, and I strongly disagree, and I support Ethan and Hila. The problem is
that she doesn't.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
She actually
thinks they have a point.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So go fuck yourself.
I agree.
Go fuck yourself. What about your girl? This is what I'm talking about. This aggression that you're putting out into the world. What the fuck do you think we're gonna do? You think I'm gonna fucking sit on my hands when you do this shit? Like, this is nasty. We had such a fair response to what you guys were going through. We don't support harassment. It's a bad thing, but it happens and you're perpetuating it.
You fucking propagandist, lying scumbag, terrorist supporter. He probably sets up a mirror and jerks off watching himself. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view of Hitler. Because Dan Clancy...
Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view. That is point blank defamation.
Nazi. Fucking anti-Semite.
You can't expect other people to stop harassing you if you continue to harass people. Let's think about it on a micro level.
Dude.
Have you ever been in a comment section and found someone to argue with? It doesn't stop. It can literally go on forever if you don't want to touch grass.
I mean, yeah, this was kind of like a line, what happened today, that should never be crossed, even by like the most cynical, toxic people. It's going to have ramifications in terms of how I conduct myself, in terms of these fair weather friends who are, you know, so happy.
God, the sniffing and the you know, bouncing in the seat. Like, am I crazy? Like, what is going? He needs, like, listen. I know that crazy making and telling people they need help is kind of problematic, but nonetheless, it does feel like he's having some sort of either pharmacological reaction or psychological reaction.
Fair weather friends who are, you know, so happy to be friends as long as they're getting something out of it.
Ethan,
why wouldn't he blow his nose? What could he have up his nose that he doesn't want to blow out? If I was sniffing that much, I would just blow my nose. You know, what could you possibly have up your nose that you don't want to blow out, so you're sniffling like that?
Is a rich thing to say. Like, you're the H3 podcast, okay? There's a lot of friends of the show. There's even more.
Ethan being a Hutch stand confirmed. Hutch is like really funny. Is that Hutch is like so unlikable and so stupid that he bet me $1,500. Let's take a moment because now Ethan Klein is talking about a Hutch. Let's take a moment. It's so funny. These are all Destiny orbiters. It's so funny, dude. Psychedelic Socialist, heavily recommend you follow them, said, "Don't you owe Mike money? Why don't you unblock him and pay up, big man?" And here's some bets I made with Hutch. On August 1st, 2023, I bet him that Trump would not go to prison for 30 days or more before January 21st, 2025. So he messaged me and he said, you'd be down to take me up on $1,000 bet that Trump ends up incarcerated after all these trials? And I said, basically, the bet was for prison for Trump for 30 days or more before January 21st, 2025. If he is, you win 1,000. If not, I win. Guys, did Donald Trump go to prison for more than 30 days before the inauguration? Oh, wait. Trump won the election. Trump won the election. Well, guess what, chat? I also bet him that Joe Biden would not be reelected in November 7th, 2021. I saw how ineffective that Joe Biden was as president and how he wasn't passing any of Build Back Better and he wasn't keeping any of his promises. So I knew that Joe Biden would lose reelection because he was an ineffectual loser president.
Extra thing and attack. Now, in fairness, I am attacking back, but I feel very insulted and I feel defensive and I feel like I am speaking up for a lot of people who have problems.
Okay, I'm pausing it again to just say sorry for like we're talking about so many things at once, but you notice how Idubbz is talking here? Idubbz is talking like he is an emotionally mature adult man. And he's just kind of like talking through the way he's feeling, and he's not ashamed of feeling a certain type of way. Like, this is a man.
And on the receiving end of your harassment.
It's so easy to be anti-racist. Everybody's anti-racist. Racism is the worst thing in the world, right? We fucking hate racists. Fuck racists.
Microaggressions.
The minute that they actually...
Now here they are mocking it. They're mocking... First of all, the point... May I just say the point of anti-racism is that it's not easy, is that it's hard. I think he doesn't know what anti-racism means. I think he just means you're against racism. But that's not what anti-racism is about. Actively dismantling the systems we have in our society that lead to racist outcomes. That's anti-racism.
Have to stick their neck out for somebody. The minute they have to actually risk something to put themselves in under scrutiny, to sacrifice something personally to stand up for racism, then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I don't want to get involved.
And that's drama.
How much do you care?
I don't do drama.
How much do you actually care? If you're, isn't that the whole point? Like,
I realize that Ethan and Hila are more scared now than they've probably ever been. I feel like anti-Semitism is a thought in their heads now more than ever. And it's not completely unjustified to be thinking about that sometimes.
Yeah, because the far right, which they've helped promote, is growing. And they're actually Nazis and anti-Semites.
You guys are just hurt. And you're kind of like dancing around and making very like loose, poorly thought out analogies for something that doesn't even apply to us. It's like me making this video is the standing up for something, and it's saying, fuck you, you guys are being bad. You know, I don't think you're bad people, but you're being bad. You're behaving poorly. You're hurting people.
I mean, go back to the civil rights. You think that the people who are like the white kids who are protesting with the black students, you think that they were just like not risking anything? Those kids who are marching with the black students and...
So in Ethan's analogy,
So what Ethan is saying is, if I don't get myself beat up by the cops or arrested or fired or deplatformed, am I really a good person? Now, notice he's not doing any of that himself, right? So I guess by applying his own rules to himself, it seems like you might be a bad person, Ethan.
Black student and I'm the white student, but I'm the white student that's not, marching by his side. I'm not doing the difficult thing. You're gonna have to march on your own, black student.
Marching with the black students and...
I mean, why is it inspiring? Why is it inspiring?
Well, and it's the same thing, to bring it back to the song just because, but it kind of is the same thing. Like, I was thinking about going to Gaza until I found out it's dangerous. He's a total performative activist that doesn't give a single fuck about the cause.
It's been performed exquisitely. Harassing one person and seamlessly transitioning into harassing another one. If anyone's been watching for the past fucking year, I'm pretty sure they have a good idea of your feelings about Hassan.
Like, people like Anissa are the perfect example because she's friends with these people. She's friends with Idubbz. Idubbz is streaming this story about our
I'll
kid
show that, yeah.
getting Giarda from the dog, whatever.
I'm sorry, I'll accept this position from anyone except you guys. You have laid the groundwork for this type of streaming, which is watching people shit and giving your unfiltered reaction to it. Why would you expect Anissa, of all people, to say something to Denims? Okay, so by that logic, we should be saying shit to you guys all the time. But I have a feeling you guys wouldn't like if we said shit like that to you all the time. Yeah, we've been respecting you as independent content creators. You can do what you want. We'll treat you as adults. Maybe we shouldn't have been treating you as adults.
She could say so much, and it would make her a little bit uncomfortable, right? It's not comfortable. She'll get a little bit of shit.
Yeah, just for
but
saying
that would be commendable.
And by the way, it kind of speaks for itself that saying, hey, their house is clean, they're, they're actually good people, like that's going to get you shit. That kind of says it all, doesn't it?
There isn't a single person that I respect who would give a fuck if I publicly said that Ethan and Hila are great with their kids, Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila wipe their asses or don't have giardia or whatever the prompt is. No one would care. The only person who would care is me, because I'm like, why did I tweet this out? I'm not tweeting out because I'm not your fucking lapdog. That's why I'm not tweeting it out. I'm not saying it to my audience because I don't give a fuck. It's not my business.
That's, in my opinion, doing something that's difficult and standing by your principles.
You're not a solipsistic narcissist. Do you guys know what solipsism means? Basically, it's a school of philosophy. It's basically the philosophic idea, here you go, that only one's mind is sure to exist. What this means is, a solipsist is like, I'm the only real person in the world. I can't my eyes, I can be tricked. My ears can be tricked. In fact, if you think about it, my body is just a bunch of sensors being fed into my brain, which is where my consciousness is. Maybe I'm in a pod right now, like the Matrix, and everything I see is fake. The only thing I can be sure of is that I exist. Everything else might not exist. Everything else might not be real. That's what solipsism is. And basically when you say someone is being solipsistic, it's when they only value themselves and their own mind and their own thoughts. And that everybody else is just, a phantom or a ghost or a simulacra.
That's the whole point. That's what makes standing by your principles admirable, is that...
So the argument that Ethan Klein and Hila are making here, just to pause it again, because it's so fucking disgusting. The argument they're making here is, if you stand up for Palestine, you should go to Gaza and be slaughtered by the IDF. Their position is, if you think what's going on in Gaza is a genocide, you should transport yourself to Gaza to be killed by the IDF.
It's not always easy.
Why are you saying that I'm not standing up for my principles when you don't even know what they are? I get, like, we're a little bit past directly naming me, so we might have gone off on a tangent. If you maybe accepted the phone call and we talked about it, you could have asked me, hey, what are your principles? And I can tell you the way I've been behaving is exactly in line with my principles. Now we're going to
befriend, discuss, social media follow. I want to thank Idubbz for his social media follow. Thank you, Idubbz. That means we're best friends now. We're going to hang out because he follows me on Twitter. That means we are now best friends.
We are not defending what Israel did in Gaza since October 7th. Like, the way they handled that has just been awful.
Yeah.
I don't even have words, We've never once defended what happened there.
I mean, I've even been like, yeah, I mean, I think I've even called it a genocide, and I can definitely understand. I definitely think it might be, It depends on, I don't need to keep continually, one sec.
The IDF handler said, you don't call it a genocide! Don't call it a genocide!
To talk about the BDS list. We're going to start off with Frogan because obviously this is like as bad as it gets. If you're following Frogan, that can only mean that you're anti-Ethan. Oh, this is not a good start. Love of the H3 podcast. You are following Frogan, so that means that you are anti-Ethan. Sam, Morg Pie, friend of the show. Olivia, Ian, Daily Dose of Internet is anti-Ethan. Jesus, this is fucked up. Pokimane, comment etiquette. Oh shit, Asmongold's in here? Asmongold follows Frogan? No, Asmon. That means you're anti-Ethan. That's fucked up. We're gonna want to avoid these creators at the top of the list, but one tier below them are the creators who associate with them. They're essentially endorsing all of their statements. You got me, you got Anissa, I think Hassan's in there. You'd think that Hassan would be on the top of the BDS list, but that's not the case. Hassan provides additional value for people. Ethan can turn a blind eye to people collaborating with Hassan because that's what he did. You gotta be the lowest of the low to be associating with the Frogans and the Denims of the world. To associate with Hassan, that just makes sense because he's famous and he's got a massive fan base. Also, Ethan still follows Hassan on Instagram, so Hassan is in his feed.
Where else is he gonna get his jerk off material? Where else is he gonna get his jerk off material? He needs to see the meat pics.
And that's showing up right up on Anissa's and Idubbz feed.
It's important to remember that this is a living document and people can be removed or put onto it depending on how Ethan's feeling that day. You have this other tier of creators that exist below Hassan but are still anti-Ethan. But Ethan really doesn't want to bring your attention to these ones because it's kind of unpopular, you know? A lot of them are famous. It's no coincidence that Ethan stays silent when these powerful, popular men are supporting Hassan. It's because Ethan is a coward.
Chapo Trap House. Ethan is a coward. Now, I just recently befriended Idubbz, and let me just say, in my opinion, I'm calling Idubbz my friend, okay? But what I mean by that is been friendly acquaintances. You know what I call people in the industry that I'm friendly with? Acquaintances. Business acquaintances. There's this really great word called acquaintance, which means that you're like generally positively, like, you know someone, you're acquainted with them, you're generally positive toward them, but you haven't established like a deep friendship where you like tell each other their secrets and, you know, you've gone through some shit with them. I call those people acquaintances.
Because Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. I think Ethan
is a... Can I get... Mods? Mods, can I get this as a soundboard? Can I get this as a soundboard? Mods? Mods? Mods?
I think Ethan has an unreasonable amount when these powerful, popular men are supporting Hassan. It's because Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. I think
Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. That is my favorite. That's the clip of the video. That's the clip of the video. Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. Holy shit.
Ethan has an unreasonable amount of respect for these comedians because they have power, they're quick, and I think he knows that they don't fuck with his ideology. But he's gonna keep that to himself because the last thing that he wants to discover...
The Contact Cop does have a huge amount of dislikes. Who gives a fuck? People bot shit.
...is that people that he respects and looks up to, they don't fuck with him.
Bill Burr came on. It was like the worst fucking show. It was just horrible. That was like my lowest moment on podcast history. We could talk about Bill Burr, ruined my life. Bill Burr made Ethan go on Lexapro. I was prescribed it and it was in my bedside. And then it was the Bill Burr episode that made me finally start.
When Stavros goes on Hassan's stream and he mocks your content nuke.
I actually saw a really interesting video about you, man, and I don't know that I'm even comfortable being here anymore.
Oh, no.
It really kind of shed light on you in a way.
Yeah.
You kind of like have leftist politics and stuff like that, and I actually feel betrayed.
Yeah,
and so I'm actually just here to let you know this is the last time I'm ever coming.
You don't fire back because you're coping. So you're just gonna tuck your tail between your legs and never mention on your podcast that mentions everything. You're bringing up some fucking connection I have on Twitter. Someone mocks you on a stream, you're not touching it. Fuck you, you're a coward. It's just his job. It's just what he does for his job. You know, he doesn't mean it. We're actually good friends.
Fuck you, you're a coward. Oh my lord. I didn't even see this part, chat. I didn't see this part. Holy shit, fuck you, you're a coward?
You know, he makes fun of everyone. It's not just me, right? Oh, also, I can't forget about Matt Lieb. Matt Lieb is in this like middle tier. His valuable association is Rhett and Link. So Rhett and Link, conveniently, are also in this category of popular and powerful men who Ethan does not want to burn bridges with. Although he's sniffing around.
This guy, Matt Lieb, he works for Good Mythical Morning. Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, who apparently is a producer for Good Mythical Morning. Well, this guy works for Good Mythical Morning, acting like he's wholesome.
Now, here's the thing about Good Mythical Morning, chat. I want you to understand something about Good Mythical Morning. They are incredibly based and awesome, and I didn't realize it, because they give me Mormon vibes. They are so fucking buttoned up. I thought they were like Mormon conservatives, but it turns out, no, I was dead wrong. They are based.
He's bringing on somebody that wants to kill my wife, or in a video game. And I think he should be fired, frankly. And I hope he is fired. He's pathetic. And he interviewed a fucking, basically a terrorist.
I think Ethan only respects power right now, which is one of the reasons I made this video in the first place, is because he thinks I'm weak. He thinks a lot of these other creators that he's gone out of his way to attack, he thinks that they're weak.
By the way, chat, that's why he went after me. It's like, I don't know. I didn't know Idubbz until he came to LA to make this video and we hung out. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't even consider us like friends or anything. I consider us positive acquaintances. I like Idubbz. I like Anissa. I don't really know them. But now Ethan's strategy for this video is to go, haha, Mike wasn't in this video. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a shit?
Target that he can bully, he can manipulate, he can send lawsuits to. And I want him to know that we're not going to be bullied. You're being a piece of shit and we're going to call you out.
So here's the button. You've got a video and you've got an audio. We're hitting both.
Look at their faces. There's even some leftovers buttons in there.
Yes.
There's no point.
Let's leave.
Yeah, there's no need.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. But shit, like, how pathetic are you? Don't worry if you don't have it all now. I don't like pedophile. Like the Eye of Sauron. I see you. I see you out there, you fucking cockroach.
By the way, can I say this? Ozempic is a miracle drug if all you care about is losing weight. You know what I mean? Like you could see the fat melting off his body, along with his humor. I miss fat Ethan.
Yeah, you can be living with your parents for a lot longer, buddy. Yes, please. I want to be a good Jew. I'm a good Jew. Please, guys, please.
That was fine. Yeah, I don't think it was that.
Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward.
It always surprises me what you think crosses the line.
Well, I looked at Olivia and she's like, yes, do it.
Now let's talk about the button. Ethan got this button, or kill switch, as a response to the controversy with Cutie Cinderella. He was not able to control himself in that moment, and instead of figuring out how...
Chat, we have a hype train going on right now. If you enjoy this content, or more importantly, if you just want to piss off Ethan Klein, then you should consider supporting the stream by subscribing at...
He can change his behavior. He spends
$20,000. Dan and Ela were like, we would kill button that right now if we could. I can't change who I am.
I know. That's why the kill button is on its way.
That's it. See, exactly.
He uses the button for everything. If his jokes don't land, he's hitting the button.
It was being presented as if the Jordan crying thing.
I hit the button.
Why?
I don't think I needed to, but you guys were giving me crickets, so I panicked.
If he's insecure about getting something wrong, he's hitting the button.
But okay.
You
what? Button for that? What on this frame could Ethan have responded to? Perhaps the country flag that he got wrong? Maybe. I don't know.
If he goes on a problematic tirade, he's hitting the button.
Before, look how sad. But yeah, it's not just that. Like their eyes are like big. I think you guys are wrong on this one. I think you guys are all wrong.
We will warn not
one.
to touch the
I don't think he's unique in hitting the button. I think if all of us had buttons, we'd hit the button all the time.
The dump button is for when a sports radio caller says a slur, rarely for the host to use on himself. Well, yeah. I mean, we all occasionally say dumb shit, right? And that's what it's for. Bad Empanada after the content cop dropped.
Today was pretty bad, wasn't it? Really sucked for you. You were so disappointed. The betrayal of one of your closest long-term friends, huh? Tick-tock, though, Ethan. Tick-tock, because this was just a taste. This was just a small part of what we have organized for you. It's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse, Mr. Klein.
Sometimes when Bad Empanada posts videos like this, I'm like, dude, cool it. Like, you're warning them too much. I think it's more effective when Ethan gets a hit out of nowhere. And like he's coming around to my position about the anti-Ethan Klein conspiracy because of the way Ethan Klein reacted to the Idubbz video today. So we're, you know, it's hard to rein him in, but sometimes he can't help but be like, we've got so much more planned for you, Ethan. And he's right, but he shouldn't say it. You know, he shouldn't say it.
Every day, sit there just waiting in misery, in fear of what we have in store for you. Tick-tock goes the clock.
But if you don't have it, you operate differently. You think about what you're saying. You maybe plan for your show a little bit more. You maybe say, I'm not going to have my podcast be
Marble
an
Honey for tier 3 for 6 months. Holy shit! A tier 3 for 6 months in advance!
Emotional dumping ground for today. You instead say, ooh, it's important that we stay on topic. Also, the H3 community and Ethan himself use the phrase goblin mode all the time to excuse a lot of his shitty behavior or make it seem less bad.
I've been diagnosed with goblin mode, actually.
By claiming that what happens is he just gets into this like uncontrolled state he refers to as goblin mode.
I do not call myself goblin mode.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's what you did.
Goblin mode? Is that what you're calling Tourette's now?
To all victims of goblin mode, I would like to issue an apology.
You are goblin mode today. You're goblin mode. Look how many times you paused.
I'm trying, bro.
And I don't think there's no room for using the term goblin mode. I like the idea that you're defending yourself and the little guy by going goblin mode when a big corporation or a big entity is trying to attack you.
Like, if you fuck me over, if you steal money from me, if you patronize me, if you do any of this shit like you're trying to do to me, to treat me like a fucking idiot, I'm crazy, dude. I've gone fucking goblin mode over way less.
But you not thinking about what you're saying,
here's the thing. That's what I like about Ethan. Unfortunately, he's goblin mode on Palestinian children in a hospital. He's goblin mode over small content creators that are criticizing Israel's genocide in Gaza. He's goblin mode on anybody who tells him that maybe he looks bad. It's one thing to be goblin mode against a big corporation or a lawsuit troll, which he now is, right? He's now threatening to sue people to extort them, to silence people that criticize him. He made all this money in large part because the internet united behind him as a defender of fair use. And he's now turned around and become the biggest hypocrite.
You know, reflecting on your behavior, not changing your behavior, that's not goblin mode. That's being a child. Let's talk about the crew. I think the crew has been put in the worst working environment that you possibly can be for a fucking podcast. Every crew member has it bad. Like, to be around Ethan, period, would be a nightmare right now.
I'm standing by every fucking syllable of that, okay? What she did was abhorrent. And by the way,
just don't listen. Your critique of her is correct. It's just, you know, people are sensitive about women being called that word, and so
like, how pathetic are you? You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm not assuming his pronouns, and fuck all these people. Go ahead.
No,
and I'm not yelling at you. I'm just. Kelly is a black woman, right?
Yes.
Maziel is a
Korean.
Oh, Dan, come on. You're being such a buzzkill. Yeah, I didn't know Korean. I asked if Koreans are POC. God.
You know, Dan's in the bathroom. Let's just not do this right now.
I asked if Korean people are POCs.
The one time the button didn't work and we listened to how he spoke to AB without thinking that the internet was going to hear it, it was rude, it was nasty, and it didn't have this caveat of like, I'm not mad at you. It was anger, and it was uncalled for.
Use they get Ashes to cover most of it.
We're doing it.
What are you
It's
doing?
so awkward and terrible.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Just like this is what I'm talking about when it's always like.
We need to get home for our kids.
It's like, bro.
Oh no, I didn't want to finish it right now. I'm about finishing Wednesday.
On Friday, maybe. Is it?
You guys like.
All right, I'm taking my hand off. What? Okay, well.
Heard all that.
Thanks, button.
And he didn't want to take accountability for it. He immediately wanted to deflect, and he wanted to say that the button fucked him.
First of all, I appreciate the hard work.
I know you do.
And I
know.
loved it, and I really enjoy it. But it's like every
Nice,
time.
113 subs. Thanks, Ethan Klein. Thank you, Ethan Klein.
We do it. It's like the show is what it is, and
I know.
It makes it.
I was being selfish.
No, dude, that button f***ed me, dude. Can you imagine that button f***ing me over like that?
The button fucked you? AB fucked you? Who fucked you? You fucked yourself by being an asshole. He makes it seem like he's not a tyrant of a boss.
We're doing it.
What are you
Making it
doing?
so awkward and terrible. I appreciate the hard work.
I know you do.
And I
know.
loved it, and I really enjoy it.
Dan, his producer, is constantly clarifying things on the air and making it clear that what Ethan said was a joke. Ethan is being overly defensive.
I mean, you know, they like to bully people too. They like to bully people too. Idubbz. They like to do it too. You know, they'll clarify for the stuff that makes them look really bad. But when they think they can get away with it, they like to do it too. They like to attack Hassan and me. Maybe they haven't done it to you yet, but after the content cop, don't worry, you're gonna get it from all of them.
Or he's saying things that are like not true and he's exaggerating.
People saw that. They thought that that was what you searched.
This is proof of the thing you said, that Dan makes Ethan's bad stuff look good and protects Ethan Klein and H3. Yeah, he protects H3 to protect himself and his cushy job. It's not like he's doing this because he's a good person or something. He just doesn't want their show to get fucking canceled.
I did not type
photo, so I'm just clarifying.
Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate you doing that. God forbid.
It's okay because I buttoned it.
Why?
Because
it's not that big of a deal, man.
Just
Like,
your
how
inability to.
No. Hold on, Dan. How does it change anything? People knowing that we did it.
It's fun when it's a surprise.
Okay, well,
you just asked how it changed
Surprise
things.
them on your show.
Okay, all right.
You know, I understand that that's his role, and he's, you know, Ethan's made that his job, or Dan's made it his job. Ethan leans on it so heavily, in the same way that he leans on the button. Ethan is leaning on all of these people to be adults and look after his behavior.
That's exactly what I said about AB and Dan, and people went after me for it, but he's just phrasing it slightly differently. It's fascinating how the exact same argument and thought, when phrased in a slightly different way, can be received by different people differently.
And give all of this emotional and empathetic energy for Ethan, but Ethan refuses to give it back to them. Also, let's talk about AB and Lena, two Lebanese employees, and you just continue to talk about the conflict like they don't exist. It would be nicer, a lot nicer, for you to shut the fuck up about it. You're allowed to do that.
Hezbollah in Syria alone killed double that much. All right, I'm going to move on. I just want to play Hassan talking about bad empanada.
Ethan doesn't want to change, and he wants to bring the entire crew down with him because he's putting them in this position every day, right? But it's more important that he gets this shit off his chest. It's more important that he dumps. We're all familiar with Goblin mode. Well, Ethan debuted a new mode recently.
Poopy mode?
And by the way, my ratio is pretty good. Like, I'm looking at like 20 Goblin modes to 1 too far. Demon mode, let's call it.
What makes demon mode different than goblin mode is goblins aren't really like an intimidating, powerful force. If the goblin is persistent, it can get what it wants.
When I'm done with the other one, the big one that's dropping probably next week, my full attention is going to you, George. Like the Eye of Sauron. I see you. I see.
So the big one, what he's talking about is he's lost a defamation lawsuit appeal. And so Ethan Klein is being sued for defamation by this guy named Ryan Kavanaugh, who's a very wealthy, either billionaire or near billionaire, who he like basically accused of all sorts of stuff, like heading a Ponzi scheme, that he kind of looks like Harvey Weinstein, the standard Ethan Klein insults. And he was sued by him for defamation. Ethan Klein filed an anti-slap motion, which is basically a strategic lawsuit against public participation. Basically, it is a motion to prevent people from suing you to stop criticizing them, right? And so Ethan lost his anti-slap motion because he did on his face defame that guy.
You out there, you fucking...
Is Ethan actually going to do another content nuke on Hassan? No.
Cockroach.
Ethan, the reason the internet got behind you when you were being sued by Matt Haas or when you were being sued by Ryan Kavanaugh is because people saw you as the underdog. They saw you as the guy who's defending the common man.
I'm suing, and I cannot wait for you guys to read it. At the moment, we are writing 3 complaints for 3 people.
You are doing the classic rich asshole thing. You have a deficit of friends, you have a surplus of enemies. You feel really bad, you feel hurt, but you also have a surplus of money. So what can you do? You can use that money to bully and intimidate people. These public legal threats that you're making to fellow creators, these legal threats that you're making to people on Reddit, on Twitter, you're like, I'm hurt. These people are hurting me. What do I do to stop it? There's no...
Well, the thing is, like, he's attacking us. He's attacking Hassan. He's attacking me. He's attacking all these other creators. And most of the people he's picked are people that he's been manipulated to attack by Destiny. There's a reason why I come up so much, right? There's plenty of, pro-Palestinian creators that come up who have commented on this or are friends with Hassan that he hasn't fixated on. Why is he fixated on me? The reason why he's fixated on me is because Destiny and his audience has fed him a bunch of shit about me, or a lot of reasons or clips about me commenting on this.
Nothing I can do to stop it. I'm powerless. No, you have a ton of power. You have
It's
a
the
ton
same
of...
reason he went after Dan Clancy. Yeah, the reason why Hassan... Yeah, that's a great point, Casey Tron. The reason why Ethan went after Dan Clancy is because Ethan wanted Destiny unbanned, because Destiny and him and their audiences are overlapping in their hatred of Hassan, right? So now Dan Clancy gets brought in. Dan Clancy is just a platform guy.
Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. Options, you have a ton of choice. That's exactly what you get for being filthy rich, is you can do all of these things.
I've never want to sue someone for defamation, but like at what point do you kind of fucking have to? I mean, this is like basically someone calling you a pedophile. Be like, yeah, Ethan's a pedophile.
Dan Clancy.
Ethan, you called Dan Clancy a pedophile.
Or whatever, like the CEO of Twitch, and being
pedophile. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view of Hitler. Because Dan Clancy, the Nazi, fucking anti-Semite. There are certain things you can accuse people of that rise above to make it like actionable, which is like wrongfully accusing someone of being a pedophile, a sex criminal, a murderer, shit like that. Dan Clancy now, in other words, he is a pedophile.
You have so much less to go off of saying that than anybody has about
based
Dream.
on his looks. Just based on his
Well, at least you're self-aware.
That's 100% a joke. I have no evidence to conclude that he is.
One of the more notable...
Wow, what a joke. This guy has kids.
Legal threats that Ethan has sent out recently is against Noah Samson.
I have nothing but vibes to gain, and potentially your money as well. Don't worry if you don't have it all now. I'll garnish your wages. You're going to be living with your parents for a lot longer, buddy. 26, you know what I mean? Try 46.
Noah made a video that was critical of Ethan and other content creators when they're talking about Israel and Palestine. I mean, the way he's talking about Noah on his podcast is so fucking creepy and weird.
Is this a new thing?
This is a new thing. This happened during the show. upon initial examination, it seems to check out, and it's not great for young Noah.
Can I say that? Don't say it yet.
I'll say it.
So he's a rape. So of course his standard. I don't know what he's accused of, so I'm not actually going to say. But
Ethan brought on a former partner of Noah to basically just shit talk him and say that he's a bad partner. But that's all that Ethan was able to extract out of it.
you are not accusing him of committing any crimes or doing R-word or anything like that. The accusation is that he's a sleaze.
Absolutely. Noah Sampson, as far as I know, is not a rapist.
Fuck you to Noah Sampson, who's not just a liar and a scumbag, but also a creep, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Now let's talk about the left-leaning Democrat.
He presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things.
The thing that made me start to question Ethan's intentions is that when he was suggested to talk to Sam Seder, a fellow progressive, a guy that Ethan respects and looks up to.
He works with Sam Seder at the Majority Report. I respect him and what they do there.
He kept saying that it was racist or anti-Semitic to suggest that he talked to someone who's within the same ethnic group as him.
That's why I said yesterday, like, I urge Ethan to talk to Sam Seder. There are very thoughtful, very kind anti-Zionist Jews out there that he could talk to. I don't think that I will be able to reach him.
What's the insinuation that I only listen to other Jewish people? You need to talk to my pre-approved list of Jews that like agree with me on everything. You know, it doesn't matter if they're Jewish, dude. It doesn't matter if they're fucking Jewish.
I think most Jews.
I don't think Jews at large view it. I don't think that is the.
In what position are you to even say that?
It's not motivated by myself. It's motivated by Jews against anti-Zionist Jews.
Seriously, how can you speak for my entire ethnic group? I find that really interesting.
Ethan, I don't know what to fucking tell you. This is like step one of having a leftist ideology, is recognizing our race, religion, nationality, all this shit, all shape our experiences as people.
That's the reason why it'd be better served to have this conversation not with myself, but with an anti-Zionist Jewish person.
Why does it matter if they're Jewish?
Because I'm not Jewish, and you've said in this conversation that, like, how can you tell me how to feel about the situation?
Yeah, but how is one person a representative of Jews at large? I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
See, when Ethan Klein is talking, he represents all Jewish people. But when somebody else who is Jewish, who might have a different perspective exists, they don't get to talk because they're just a token.
So yes, Ethan, on occasion you might be suggested to talk to someone who has some crossover with you. It doesn't have to be your ethnicity. It could possibly be someone who shares progressive ideology with you. It could possibly be someone who is of your same gender. I think Ethan understands this concept very well. He listened to these women on his show when they told him that he shouldn't be calling women bitches.
This bitch is intolerable. You are such a nasty fucking bitch, Ken.
I don't know if you can call her a bitch, though.
She is a bitch. She's a fucking bitch.
Okay,
You're right.
I'm
I call her a see you next Tuesday.
Listen, you have.
I'm curious, what do Lena and Sam think about it?
I wouldn't be okay with that.
Yeah.
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 I feel like that it's for the girlies, Ethan. But I
So
agree.
you guys all seem to be
Yeah.
in consensus that
We
it's in
are.
poor form. I think to respect the women here in the room, I'm going to have to pass on saying that.
The infantilization of Ethan Klein is fucking nauseating. He's not a child. He is absolutely capable of looking into Hassan, learning about his politics, interviewing, doing loads of things to figure out where he stands.
He presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things. And for the first time, I noticed an inordinate amount of radical, hardcore leftists. I mean, I thought we were social democrats, not whatever this was.
First of all, Ethan Klein has never heard what a radical hard left person is like. He has no idea what they're talking about. In fact, even I barely bring it up. Like, there's some left-wing shit, but hard left? There's barely any. Like, I do not attack hard leftists. I think that they might be right. But Ethan Klein has never heard hard left in his fucking life. And he's also not a social democrat.
This comment from Hassan really started to sound some alarms in my head. I was already getting uncomfortable with our partnership. I started to wonder if I had any idea who this guy actually is.
You made how many episodes with Hassan? Like, this guy made a fucking program with the biggest mega leftist on the platform. Now he's acting like he was tricked and he was incapable of figuring out what this guy's beliefs were. Bro, I didn't make the fucking leftist program. You did. You made fucking, what, 60 some odd episodes of this shit for hours talking to this guy? You didn't have a problem with any of it until, Ethan talks about being aware of Hassan's 9/11 comments and then sort of leaves it at that. Like it was just a joke. Actually, I think Ethan describes them as edgy moments or jokes.
You might remember him from such classics as
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it, I'm saying it.
Now, to be clear, I knew about all these edgy and controversial jokes at the time we made the show together, because who am I to judge?
No, Ethan, those aren't jokes, right? When someone makes a controversial statement like that, that's not them trying to be funny. I can understand why you would conflate the two. That is someone who is extremely frustrated and passionate about a particular topic. In this case, American imperialism and terrorism. You could have looked into that. You could have talked to Hassan a little bit more and found out what his international politics opinions are. But you wouldn't even need to do that. You can look at it online. You're not a victim. You weren't tricked. You made 60 some odd episodes. If you didn't want to go down this route, you shouldn't have done it. But that was your fucking choice. You did it. You are an adult. When Ethan and Hila are watching Matt Lieb saying that one state doesn't represent all Jews, they cannot wrap their heads around the idea.
No single person represents all Jews.
I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
No single person represents all Jews, as no single state represents all Jews.
This is another weird thing.
Oh my God.
Israel, this is a lie that I see Hassan and people pander. They say that Israel's going to war on behalf of Judaism. They have never, I don't believe that that's ever been stated. And I don't think Israel ever explains that it's like, I think Israel has says.
So why are you objecting? Shouldn't you agree? Shouldn't you be like, he's right, Israel doesn't represent all Jews? What's the disagreement? He's right. Why are you saying, oh my God, and getting and like stopping the video? If they're right that not every one nation doesn't represent Jews, and if Israel doesn't claim to fight for Jews, then why are you pausing? You should be like, they're right.
It's a place where Jews can go.
Israel's just a place Jews can go? With that slogan, we might actually have peace. You know, if that's all you're defining Israel as, is a place Jews can go. Like, sure, it sounds like America to me. Like, all right.
I don't think that Israel said they represent all Jews. I don't think that's a stance. We're like, hey, displacing Palestinians is all Jewish people.
Ethan is being so disingenuous here to suggest that he doesn't understand what Matt Lieb is saying. Like, he's making a semantic argument. Like, I don't think Israel has said that it represents every last Jew on the planet. I don't think Israel has claimed that. They're not going to say that their most genocidal behavior represents anything to do with them, okay? But what they are going to do is they're going to inexplicably link Israel and Jewishness together, so when they're being criticized, all of a sudden they have the perfect defense. Oh, another thing I need to mention. There was a tier list. It was called the Who Can Say Habibi tier list. It was presented at TwitchCon as like a panel that was just meant to be lighthearted and fun. And Ethan Klein saw that, and he decided that it was anti-Semitic.
Tier list them, and we're going to need your help to discuss and figure out who can say Habibi and who can't.
And also, we have tiers. We have Arab coded. They ask permission to say Habibi. You know, like you got like a white guy's like, can I say it? Is it a slur? And then Love Sabra, which is they're not Arab coded at all.
Now, when I first saw this tier list, I immediately knew what it was doing. I was like, oh, it's a play on the who has the N-word pass and who doesn't tier list. Granted, Habibi is very different than the N-word, but it is a cultural word amongst Arabic-speaking people and Muslim people. Like, that is a word that's used. Habibi. It means my love. Oh no, don't do that, Habibi. Oh yes, Habibi. You're my Habibi, I'm your Habibi. So yes, it's meant to be a fun way that these Arab content creators can express their Arab culture and be proud of it and happy about it. Because it's not like they have massive representation on the platform.
Making a tier list based on race. And nobody has a fucking problem with that. Okay, you have a tier list based on race. Where's the Jewish panel? Where's the Jewish panel? Where at the top it says Jewish. It's a tier list based on Arab to Jew. He's Arab, which is good. That's the best thing you can be on this. That's the best. This is racist.
By the way, there is an Jewish Arab man on the panel. I just want you to understand that, chat. There is a Jewish Arab on the panel. Like, what are you talking about? Being Jewish and being Arab are not mutually exclusive, and nobody said they were. That's why this entire bad faith interpretation by Ethan Klein is so revealing for him being a liar. And he knows that, right? He knows that Raph is a Jewish man, and he's been told that time and time again, yet he keeps spreading this lie. And he spreads this lie because he's a liar who you cannot believe about anything.
I will say that conveying information through a tier list is not the most effective thing, but Ethan should understand this principle. He did a white slurs tier list with Hassan.
Cracker.
I mean, you know what my take is.
We can't put this as an F. Cracker. I mean, that's
racist. That's what Asmongold would say. Asmongold would be like, a Jewish man and a Turk are making a white person tier list. That's racist. Asmongold would probably argue that neither one of them are. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what Asmongold would say. Never mind. I'm not gonna put it. Maybe certain right wingers would say that Turks aren't white. Other right wingers would say Greeks aren't white. Other right wingers would say Italians aren't white. Some right wingers might even say that Spanish people or Portuguese people aren't white.
Got to be at least a D, right?
Pale face motherfucker.
Pale face. I mean, again, I think that's an F. Hog.
So Hog is my favorite. I use it all the time.
Him and Hassan feel as though they're white guys, so they felt very.
I use Hog to mean right winger. Hog is our Gasano. For me, Hog is Gasano. Like, it's the same thing as Gasano, which is, you know, it's a catch-all. It's a political, you know, slur, not a racial thing for me. I think hogs tend to be, it's like hogs tend to be white people because conservatives tend to be white, but the hog doesn't have to be white. So I don't think that's even on that list.
Comfortable talking about white slurs on their tier list.
I think I'm more white than you. What do you think?
I think I'm white. Like, I'm super white.
Can you understand why Arabs might feel comfortable talking about Arab shit on their tier list?
America considers Turks white, but Europeans don't consider Turks white. That shows you something very interesting, by the way. Whiteness is made up. Whiteness is made up. And you might even say, like, light-skinned Turks are accepted as white, and light-skinned Arabs are accepted as white, but darker-skinned people are, you know, it's the same thing with Hispanic people. Maybe it's a continuum. You know, race is made up.
Ethan, you're the white guy. You think you're more white than Hassan.
I think I'm more white than you.
So yeah, the white guy can say all the things that he wants, like cracker, but the Arabs can't have their tier list.
I would put him also an Arab. I know Turkish people are different.
Notice how they dropped the premise almost immediately that it's about who can say Habibi. And then it's like, Hassan, okay, actually, he's Arab. We fucking love him. He's dope. He's Arab.
Habibi is an Arabic word. That is an Arabic word, Ethan.
Funny about this whole thing is that they say Habibi in Israel. Again, people underestimate just how, like, mixed Israeli culture is. Like,
we say Habibi in Israel. Yes, Ethan. Another piece of evidence as to why it isn't anti-Semitic.
This is racist.
If you're not Arab or understand
what race
Arab...
is Ethan Klein claiming? What race are they racist against? Is Ethan Klein claiming that Jewishness is a race? He's claiming that, like, Jews from Ethiopia are the same race as Ashkenazi Jews from Northern Europe. That's what he's claiming. That is fucking Nazi shit. Like, what are you talking about? That's crazy.
Culture at all, which is a lot of Americans. And Ethan Klein presents you this tier list and calls it anti-Semitic. You're just gonna eat it up. It's not. Ethan is just proving his location on this tier list under Love Sabra because he doesn't understand
Nick Fuentes.
Arab culture. There's a lot of Arabs who eat Sabra. There's a lot of people like me who eat Sabra.
Oh no! Ew! Ew! What? Anissa! Okay, Anissa, I know this isn't true. I know this isn't true. This is the most offensive part of the video. Sabra hummus is dog shit. It's actually disgusting. It's actually disgusting. Like this, he's lying. He's lying. He's lying. This is like self-deprecating humor, right? This is self-deprecating. There's no way Anissa is serving this man Sabra hummus. There is no fucking way. There is no fucking way. Get yourself Kirkland brand at Costco. Get Boar's Head. Just make it yourself. Anything. But Sabra.
A lot of the times it's all that's in the store and I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna eat it, but it is not the good.
No! Edit this video right now. Edit this video right now. Never. I mean, I think it's a joke. I think this is a joke.
Shit. Like the average Arab American, they're gonna go in the store and the only option they have is fucking Sabra. And that sucks that that's the only option, right? Arab communities and
chat. I just want to pause this for a second. 2.9 million views for the content comp of H3. And the content nuke is only at 3 million views after 2 months. After less than 24 hours, the content cop has almost caught up with the content nuke in views. Hold on, let me click on this for likes.
not the good shit.
The likes, 222,000 likes. 222,000 likes. They're only 5,000 likes behind the content nuke. The content cop is within 5,000 likes and 300,000 views of catching the content nuke within 24 hours. It's only been 21 hours, less than 24 hours in. Oh my God. Make sure you like this video, chat. I'm going to go ahead and share this. Everybody, if you've watched this already, I don't care. Click this. Click this link right now. Click this link right now. Click it, click it, click it. Click it. Make sure you're liked. Banger. Banger. That's all I'm going to comment. That's all I'm going to comment. How the fuck does Ethan have millions of views on anything? Well, it was like every right-winger and Zionist promoted this video. You know, every single one of Hassan's stalker content, the commentary slop tubers, the right-wing grifters, the anti-Hassan people, they all promoted this like crazy, as hard as they could. That's incredible. That's incredible stuff.
Distribution facilities are not widespread across the U.S. So what are they left with? They're left with...
Mike, this is an essential analysis. Ethan genuinely thinks that being a Zionist is an integral part of Jewishness because Rath and Matt Lieb are anti-Zionists. They are tokens and quote not real Jews. Ethan isn't a liar. He's just a bit. I mean, I think you're right. I was just trying to make a point that what Ethan Klein was saying was actually exclusionary and racist.
A common, relatable, shitty hummus, which is Sabra. And what's so fucking pathetic about this whole thing is after he was able to get these Arab creators banned off of Twitch for 30 days, he goes on to talk about how bad Sabra hummus is on his show.
I don't think anybody prefers Sabra over homemade like restaurant quality hummus. You know, it's what's there.
Like weirdly fluffy.
Permission to shit on Sabra hummus granted. Thank you. Thank you, Ethan Klein.
It is fluffy.
Weird.
Yeah.
I would buy it sometimes and eat it. It's not the best.
The problem is with Sabra, in my opinion, it's only good for the first 2 days.
For some reason, like when you eat this Sabra shit, it just feels so much heavier. Imagine eating a whole fucking vat of Sabra. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've never liked hummus.
Oh, okay.
Well, you hate Jews then.
I don't.
And Arabs.
Yeah.
This is racist.
Yeah, it's almost like you can have a discussion about Sabra hummus being a bad hummus without it being at all related to a Jewish thing or an Israeli thing. He can have that discussion as much as he wants on his podcast because we all know his intentions aren't anti-Semitic.
This is what he did. He hit his heart hard.
The Zionism is leading to not accepting other cultures, embracing their own culture, and instead thinking that that is an attack on you. There's this incident on the podcast where they were reacting to Cutie Cinderella.
Speaking of Sabra is a target, one of the core targets of BDS, and so is SodaStream. So I highly recommend DrinkMate, which I think is made in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And if there's any problem with DrinkMate, please let me know so I can smash it with a hammer. But if it's related to Israel in any way, let me know so I can smash it with a hammer. But I'm pretty sure that DrinkMate is just an American-made alternative to SodaStream. Now, I like my bubbly water. So I make my bubbly water. So I drink more water because I'm one of those people who's like, I gotta have the seltzer, man. I gotta have that. To ensure that I am drinking enough during the day. And, just to save the calories from soda. I've tried to be healthy and improve my diet and improve my health without taking pharmacological things. Because I don't know about you guys, but I just don't trust Ozempic. Maybe it's just me. And I have, maybe it's because I went to law school and I took scientific evidence and I studied product liability law. There's just been so many drugs that have come out that have resulted in horrible side effects that if it's something that is not like medically necessary for me to live, I don't want to take it. I don't want to opt in to any medical intervention. Like I just have like this bias against it. Maybe it's, law school taught me that doctors kill people all the time. I'm not saying that medical science is wrong or bad or that you should go to the doctor. You should. In fact, I should go to the doctor more. I have straight white man syndrome where I never go to the doctor. But when you're talking about something as ultimately unserious as my own personal vanity as a middle-aged man, I don't want to take Ozempic. You know what I mean? Even if people are going to call me chubby or whatever, I've lost a lot of weight. I've lost 20 pounds since I moved from Vegas. So I'm pretty happy of that, but I still got a gut. I'm still a little bit plump, let's be honest. I probably need to lose another 20. And that being said, I just don't trust. I'm not going to do Ozempic for 20 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Come on. I just need to work out more. I need to watch my diet. I could do this. I already have a soda stream that was gifted to me before I was aware of the BDS shit. Is there a non-proprietary CO2 tank that I could put it in? What you could do is you could get I actually recommend you get a larger, if you have the space, get a larger CO2 tank to fill an adapter to fill your own shit, because then it makes the soda really cheap. And there's so many food grade CO2 companies in every major city. You could get it done. I trust you. We've been trying to find problems with Ozempic left and right ever since it came out, but generally we can't find any issues with it. It's literally a miracle drug. That might be true. I'm not saying you shouldn't take Ozempic, especially if you're like obese. If you want to take Ozempic, take Ozempic. It's good. Losing weight is one of the best ways to improve your health. Objectively, this is not fat phobia. This is just being obese is really bad for your longevity and your cardiovascular health. It just is. That's what the science says. It's not fat phobia. That's just reality. Okay. And I'm not saying you can't be big and healthy. Of course you can be big and healthy. If you're active, if you're working out a lot, but you're a little bit bigger, that's a little bit different than people that are sedentary and also obese. That's a different thing. That's a different category. And I think we all can talk about this without becoming like, you know, without spinning ourselves into the ceiling. All I'm saying is, if you want to take Ozempic, take Ozempic. Me personally, I'm conservative in that sense. I'm too conservative. Like, I'm not going to get plastic surgery. I'm not going to get Botox. I'm not going to get, you know, things like that. So why would I, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm already somebody who is, you know, staying away from medical interventions. Mike's a conservative. Let me just say this. I'm conservative in a lot of ways. And what I mean by that is not politically conservative, but just like in my personal life, I'm a monogamist at this point. Like, you know, as far as like, I don't really do hard drugs. I very rarely drink. You know, I have an IRA that I put money into. Like, I think about the future. You know, I like Labrador retrievers. You know, in a lot of ways, I own a gun or 2 or 3 or more. IRA, yes, the Irish Republican Army. No, I mean the individual retirement account. Like, you know, I have a lot of things that are old white man syndrome shit. I have jorts. You know? Like things like that. Do I let dogs kiss your face? Of course. Of course. Is that even a question? If a dog wants to lick your face, you let the dog lick your face. And then you go like, oh, that was gross, but it was funny. It was fun. You enjoy it. It's nasty. You wash your face afterward, but when it happens, it's joyful. This is just like what is wrong with people? Are you the type of kids that never played in the mud? This is what I'm talking about. If you let old dogs lick you, it smells like death. That's not true. Not all dogs have really bad breath. Bad dog breath is like a symptom of something, usually.
And Ethan was laughing during it. So that ended up being a pretty important wake-up call for Ethan. He made an apology video directed at Cutie Cinderella, and it was graded by a professional psychologist, Dr. Kirk Honda of Psychology.
Mike, if I go to TwitchCon, can we do old man things? Maybe.
In Seattle. And Ethan got an A+ rating.
In terms of a public apology,
Dogs don't usually lick their butt for fun. Dogs have this anal gland that needs to be expressed, and if it gets irritated or it gets inflamed, then it can become painful for them. So if you're not aware of dog health, if you're not like taking care of them, sometimes they try to express it themselves. They do this by like rubbing their ass on the carpet or on grass. Sometimes they'll like try to lick it. So that's usually a sign that they're in distress. Like when a dog is listening, they don't just lick their butt for fun. They're licking it because they're in pain or uncomfortable. Or they have worms or something. So dogs are actually not as gross as a lot of people who don't know anything about dogs think. Hey, I let a dog lick my face, but you made fun of me for not having a top sheet a few days ago. Sheets make you cooler, Wizzle. They make sleeping in bed cooler. That's the entire point.
A+.
Ethan won't stop talking about his A+ rating.
You know, he rated my apology to Cutie Cinderella a perfect score, a perfect 10.
A perfect 10 out of 10?
Literally 10 out of 10. Go back. I can teach you how to make a good apology. I'm the best at
10 out of 10.
I know what a perfect apology is, lady. You fucking don't. Is my perfect apology in this PowerPoint? Dude, I got a perfect 10 out of 10. This one is actually best
apology. So
Ethan Klein, you guys, oh my God.
I was trying really hard to think about an impactful moment during this video. Like, could I do something that would really wake Ethan up? And I don't know if this came from a good place or not, but I came up with the idea of getting Ethan's grade changed from an A to a B at least. So I went to visit psychology in Seattle. I'm not confident that Kirk will change his grade, but it's worth trying. And, you know, we might learn a thing or two.
Xander! Probably get pretty low marks. Unlike me, perfect score, 10. I said, hey, Lud, no wig drama. Why are you such a spineless coward of a person now that you've inserted yourself and your girlfriend into this conversation?
Okay, Idubbz, I hear you. You're in the room with me right now. I hear you. I hear your request. I understand it. I can understand where it's coming from. And I guess have a policy that when there is a grade for an apology, I am just grading that discrete apology as I see it without taking any consideration of prior or future behavior. If you're wanting me to comment on the overall behavior or the recent behavior from the clips that you have shown me, I believe that Ethan is a good person and that eventually he will feel sorrow and will feel sorry and will apologize, and I will be there to evaluate that apology when it happens, which I know it will.
Oh, bro! Can I just say, like, that the phrase "good person" is the most meaningless phrase that has ever been uttered and is consistently uttered by the most vacuous people on the fucking planet. And even people, you know, and I've tried my best to cut it out of my vocabulary completely. I'm so tired of people going, so-and-so is a good person, which really just means, narcissist translator, so-and-so helps me and doesn't ever do anything that makes me feel bad. It's very self-centered statement. It's not a statement of like, I've evaluated this person's life and I know that they're a good person and, you know, they treat others well. It's a self-centered position of like, this person treats me well, right? Like, good person doesn't mean anything except that. And so I've tried to cut it out of my vocabulary because it's redundant. If I like a person, that means they probably treat me pretty well. Right? But it doesn't mean that they're taking care of all the shit in their life, because I can't possibly know that because I'm not them. So when I hear someone leading with so-and-so is a good person, I'm like, if they were such a good person, you would lead with an example, not a conclusion. You know, that's another thing that I would really recommend you start doing, chat. Just like to think more critically in your life. Here's a good tip. When people lead with the conclusion instead of the argument, then maybe you should be a little bit more skeptical. When somebody tells you what to think or what to believe, and they don't provide you with the reasons and the arguments, maybe you should be more skeptical of what they want, because they're trying, in my opinion, to manipulate you. And so I think I've learned that as a content creator. I've seen so many people attack me with nothing but conclusions, right? No arguments, no quotes of what I've said, but just conclusions about who I am. And I noticed that, and I was like, huh, interesting. You know, if I'm such a bad guy, you should be bringing up the arguments I make and how they contribute to a worse world. And like, then we could have a conversation about what I was talking about. If we could, that would be good faith, right? That would be, Mike, you said this, I disagree with it. Where were you coming from? Why? What did you mean? This person felt that it meant this. Is that true? That would be a way of like actually discussing things with me in a sense of wanting to get mutual understanding. And then if I double down or I don't deal with what your argument is, well, then you can draw a conclusion about my, you know, consistency or correctness on that point. I clicked on your stream from the main page on Twitch. I probably am just in your algorithm. I doubt that I'm on like the carousel. I haven't been on the carousel ever. I've never technically been on the front page of Twitch, I don't believe.
This guy stinks! Unfortunately, Kirk did not change his grade. But that's okay, because this is the internet. Anyone can have their own official apology rating system. So I'm going to rate Ethan's apology a B-. That's just based on my own feelings and my own rubric. When Psychology in Seattle was watching these video clips of Ethan, he said that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug. Now, of course, it kind of pisses me off to hear that shit, because I'm like, what are we doing? What are we saying? He needs a hug? No, he doesn't need a hug. He needs a good fucking ass whooping is what he needs. I think something that's very important to me in bringing back Content Cop is to be fair. I think that was something that was not illustrated in previous Content Cops that I think should have been, and probably wouldn't have left me with so much regret. Ethan deserves all of the criticism that he's getting. I think it's very valid. But I also think, at the end of the day, we should acknowledge that he's human, because he is human. And he is in a situation that's making him extremely scared, paranoid, defensive, sensitive, and I'm sure other features and feelings. In the spirit of Kirk saying that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug, I have challenged some of his most powerful haters to put down the haterade and just say something nice and charitable about him, because I think he deserves it.
I just wanted to say that I
Can I just pause it for a second here and say, I don't think Ethan Klein deserves this. I don't think Ethan Klein deserves this. Like, I get what you're trying to do, but fundamentally, Ethan Klein needs to be given the energy back that he puts out into the world, because that's the only way bullies learn, right? Like, bullies have to be rebuffed. And Ethan Klein, as you said earlier in the video, is getting babied constantly by everybody. This is another way of babying Ethan Klein. So, I mean, we could watch it and we could laugh, but like at the end of the day, I just think that it's just an attempt to try to reach Ethan when he's malicious, man. It's malicious. He's a malicious guy. And like, that's what he's about. So he's not coming back.
respect that you are genuinely yourself on the internet. I think a lot of other people respect you for it as well. I think that's a big reason why people were drawn to your content in the first place. I think that's a lot of the reason why your employees chose to work with you over.
Ethan was making fun of you throughout his reaction and you didn't even take part. Why are you becoming his target? Like, I get you caught him out on his Zionism, but he thinks he can just constantly bring you up to because Destiny. It's a Destiny thing. Like, Ethan, like, I was a Destiny enemy when I was a 200 viewer streamer, and that's what it is. And because Destiny's community has gone into Ethan Klein's community and wears his community like a someone who's cut somebody else's face off, it's the Frazzle Drip community. I'm an enemy of Destiny, therefore I must become an enemy of Ethan. And so anytime I say anything about Ethan, they're gonna post it on the Discord, or they're gonna post it in the subreddit, and Ethan's gonna see it. And, you know, ultimately, I love it because my biggest fans are, you know, you could just see this, right? Like, when Destiny declared me an enemy, I think it was, I want to say it was November 2019 or October 2019. When did Destiny call me his enemy once and for all? It was somewhere in there. It was somewhere around here on the chart. You know what I mean? So, like, Ethan Klein declared me. When did he say that I was his? When did he say I was enemy of the show? Was it like around here? When was I declared enemy of the show? You know, it's just another boost for me, because what happens is people come and they watch me. And if you are progressive inclined at all, you're probably going to stick around. I have some of the highest rate of retention of all time. You know, like, I am, this is literally a fucking fact of Twitch that my stream has some of the highest retention rates of any stream. If somebody clicks on my stream, they're much more likely to become a permanent watcher than almost any other stream on the entire platform. So, like, the more people you send my way, the better I'm gonna do. It's just straightforwardly true. So, like, again, I don't mind. Bring me up. Go on, attack me all you want.
The average Arab American, they're going to go in the store and the only
I came because Hassan was banned and you were suggested to me by Twitch. Stayed because I was drawn in by your takes and pushed back on doomerism. Yeah, that's one of my many takes.
Only option they
It is
have
what it
is
is.
fucking Sabra, and that sucks. That's the only option.
And by the way, if you're new here or you came from Hassan or whatever, Hassan and I are buds. Like he is without a doubt the single creator who's helped me the most. You know, I've been on his stream a dozen times. I was on election night and I told all the liberals that I didn't vote for Kamala Harris. Like, and I was absolutely furious. I called the election perfectly. I told him early on in the night that she had lost Pennsylvania. And like, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. And you know what? We're buddies and pals. And whenever we see each other, it's another reinforcement of the work that we're doing.
Right? Arab communities and distribution facilities are not widespread across the U.S. So what are they left with? They're left with a common, relatable, shitty hummus, which is...
Sorry, chat. I clicked on the wrong thing. I had multiple of these open. Sorry. This is the one we were watching.
Or anyone else.
Ethan, I think it's respectable that you even be...
Brainworm says, I'm a 54-month sub to Hassan and a 51-month sub to you. I've never unsubbed or skipped a sub to either of you over that time period, and I tier 3 to you for a long while. Mike, you did vote, did you? Yes, I did. I voted. I already showed my ballot. I voted for PSL for president. And I voted Democrat down ballot. I've said this so many times. Why do people think this is confusing? And I voted for all the left-wing candidates when I had the opportunity and voted left-wing on all ballot measures. Why do people think this is so confusing?
Began this journey to leave behind the anti-SJW crowd and step into a more empathetic worldview. I know it's not easy.
Ethan Klein, I think that when you are...
What's PSL? The Party of Socialism and Liberation. It was one of the third parties. Do you think Ethan will double down on this? Yes. Yes. Ethan Klein is a narcissist. Ethan Klein cannot help but double down. He cannot help but triple down. He can never be wrong. He can never reflect. His frame has been broken. His persona has been attacked. He is on rails. He is an automaton. There's nothing that we could do or say that will knock him off. He's on this. He's committed. He's been narcissistically focused. He's on narcissistic smear campaign. And honestly, every time he does it, I say thank you because it helps me. It helps me again. It keeps me relevant. Like this Idubbz thing is a perfect example. Like I wasn't in the Idubbz H3 content cop, right? And so therefore I would not be getting much promotion from it because I wasn't in it, right? But he brings me up and then everybody is talking about me. And so I'm getting specifically talked about more than some of the people that were in it because of the fact that he's fixated on me. So in a sense, he made this a win for me. So you helped Republicans by not voting for Kamala. All right, you got it. Actually, Kamala helped the Republicans by being the nominee and losing.
You're being goofy, when you're being silly, when you are being lighthearted, and just having fun with your friends, I think that is when you're at your best. So I'd love to see more of that. That'd be sick.
I will be reading my letter off because I don't want to sound robotic. H3 used to be the sports for good that I used to watch. I hope that one day gets back to what I remember. You were one of the inspirations for me to start creating content, so all this has stunk. I hope you really hear this, and I wish you the best.
I think Ethan Klein...
By the way, chat, Frogan is honestly an H3 fan. Frogan still thinks the crew is like savable. You know, this like Ethan Klein's like hatred of Frogan began when she kind of subtweeted about being unfollowed by him because after October 7th. Like she's you know, she's still kind of an H3 fan even after all this shit. Even after being declared numero uno enemy. And it's like, you know, I don't mind being right about the crew first. You guys will, after this, I can't wait to see how the crew reacts. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe they'll tell Ethan that maybe he should rate it in. Maybe this will be the moment. Like, this is a traumatic moment for Ethan Klein. Like, if you look at the content nuke, it's at 3.3 million views from over 2 months, almost 3 months ago, right? And this content cop, less than 24 hours, is at almost 3 million views. The content cop has 234,000 likes. That's 5,000. Okay, it's now more likes than the content nuke on Hassan Piker. The content cop now has more likes on it than his video does after 3 months. More likes in less than 1 day. And it's going to pass him in views already. Being brown people have to be exceedingly gracious. Being a dick is a privilege. I actually agree with that. The one thing I would say to that is, if I as a white man am being a dick to people that deserve it, you know, maybe evaluate what I'm saying versus who I am as a person. You know what I mean?
You were one of the inspirations for me to start creating content, so all this has stung. I hope you really hear this, and I wish you the best.
I think Ethan Klein rocks a buzz cut pretty good, and I think he's got a good choice of facial hair. I think it's really cool what he did 8 years ago, fighting that frivolous lawsuit. That was pretty fucked up, and fighting it, you know, he changed YouTube for the better. And I thought that was cool because I thought it was like he was fighting for free speech.
You know, I also see
now he's trying to deplatform everybody because we criticized Israel.
Dynamic of Ethan and Elon. Like, fuck, like, it's really hard to be a couple online and see people attacking your partner, and it's like, okay, like, if you come to their defense, that doesn't always help them, right? Sometimes that makes it worse for them.
And I have been kind of slipping into a very unhealthy place where it's gotten worse and worse, and I get criticized more and more, and I get more defensive and more pulled up, a feeling of almost infallibility, that I could take anything on. It led me to make a lot of mistakes, and then when I was criticized for those mistakes, then I would act extremely defensive and nasty and not really processing them in a healthy way.
I want to say one more thing on the content cop. What this part where Idubbz opens up and gets teary-eyed, talking about the pain he feels seeing his partner attacked online and being powerless to stop it, and then putting it in the content nuke. I could tell you right now, this is incredibly, incredibly brave shit.